On any given day, there is every reason to love thy neighbors. But if any given day happens to fall on the 1st of May, there is every reason to fear thy neighbors. This video aims to pronounce the intricate social constructs or adjustments that arose from May Day Pishog. It is this paranoia associated with these magics that distinguish May 1st from any given day. Iha Beltana and La Beltana mark the beginning of this summer and thus the milking season.
A household depended on a successful milking season to ensure a steady food supply and economic stability to last through the winter months. We know from Patricia Lysott that during this time one's dairying luck was vulnerable. The protective and preventative actions a household might take determined if the milk and butter profit was lost, maintained, or promoted. The point here being, milk profit was everything circa 12th century Ireland. The danger of one's butter luck being lost to Pishog induced a collective wave of paranoia that interrupted the normal social routines of Irish living. So how were the social norms different on May Day than on any average day? We'll sum it up by discussing 3 social protocols exclusive to May Day. 1. Mind your borders and keep to yourself. 2. Trust no one, especially the women. 3. Care to abide by strict rules exclusive to May Day.
Let's talk the first protocol. Mind your borders. The best way to ensure the safety of your butter is to keep anyone or anything off your property. In Lysott's Modern Milk, it is mentioned that Irish folk would protect the boundaries of their land and the rim of their wells by setting salt and iron, usually in the form of horseshoe nails, around the perimeter. One should also keep watch of his boundaries, be it a river, a pasture, wall, etc. Neighbors might try stealing your butter by stealing May morning dew off your grass, or by skimming the top of the well water, or of your bordering stream. The theft of these seemingly unrelated things were believed to jinx the churning process. Lock your doors. No one comes in and nothing goes out. Opening your gates was said to let the luck out. Nobody would come knocking on your door on May Day because doing so gave reason to believe the visitor was after your butter. A County Cork farmer is quoted for saying that no one visits another person's property if not with bad intentions, and that he'd have no trouble shooting such a person, and that he who shot her would be regarded as a hero. That perspective there sets May Day apart socially.
Moving on to the second protocol, trust no one, especially women. Expanding on the belief that anyone daring to leave their own property on May Day should be regarded as a butter thief, extra precaution was taken towards women. Folklore about milk theft almost always portrays women as the culprits, including that in the school's collection. One story from County Mayo tells of a woman who went out very early May morning and skimmed the well that people went to for their churning, and was supposedly heard saying, "The butter of the village for me." She somehow sold loads of butter, having only one cow. A story from County Donegal tells of one James Laughlin witnessing 2 young girls tossing yarn in a dewy pasture. Some of the yarn was thrown to him, and he later found the yarn was covered in butter. The young girls, by trapping the dew, stole butter.
The stories go on, claiming women had magical powers to let them shape-shift into animals, including magical hares or even flies that sucked on a cow's teat, taking the milk from the cow's owner. To see a woman around your property sparked panic. The school's collection does contain stories of men stealing butter too, reinforcing that simply no one can be trusted on May Day. Another story from County Mayo tells of a man who entered a woman's home on May Day and lit the sod of his pipe and went to a bog. He emptied the sod into a bog hole and upon return found the quenched coals of the sod and the woman's butter inside.
Lastly, let's move on to the third protocol. Rules of etiquette are different on May Day. Abide or be thought a butter thief. These social norms were instituted to indicate pure intentions on May Day. On any other day, someone might visit and ask to light their pipe in the host's fire. Big mistake to ask on May Day, because taking fire from someone else's home is the equivalent of taking their butter. On any other day, you can share or loan your milk or butter, but not without first putting a pinch of salt in it. On May Day, it is expected that you share nothing with anyone under no circumstance. To let any butter leave the home is to give away the luck. It is also expected that one doesn't ask for such a favor.
Don't visit anyone or allow a visitor inside. If one is allowed in while the churning is occurring, they are expected to do some churning in order to ease suspicion. Don't be out early on May morning. You are either out because you're trying to steal butter by the smoke of your neighbor's chimney, or you're spying on your neighbors, coined as doing, quote, the May morning hedging. Things that were socially acceptable on a regular day would arouse suspicion on May Day. So, some pretty nutty social norms were manifested from milk theft paranoia. Hopefully you have a better understanding of how interaction was different on May Day, as well as some of the magics that the Irish folk feared.
So, thanks for listening and for tolerating our butter pun. Just trying to milk it for all it's worth.
We hope that by watching this video you could see how much fun we had making it. We like the idea of reenacting some of the social practices that the Irish folk would have taken back in the day. We think it was a really creative way of putting ourselves in their shoes and understanding the things they did and how they felt doing it.
We read a lot of stories from the school's collection and got a lot from the variation and similarities of their tales. It was hard to find access to a farm, which we were hoping to do with like cows and the milk of the cows, but we were able to make do. One of our friends was on a dairy farm, so that was helpful.
Yeah, overall it was a really enjoyable process and we learned a lot about milk magic, so we hope you guys did too.